Last day. Today was weird. I mean, it was rainy. Everybody kind of split early. Kind of had a weird vibe today. But really glad we got to come. This was an amazing experience. I feel totally fortunate for the people that we met along the way. And I can't wait to do it next year. And I'm actually kind of excited because I think that next year this is supposed to happen like in the spring. So we don't really have that long to go till the next one. So yeah, that's gonna be fun, right? Okay, welcome back to Secondhand Overland. I'm your host, Matt Kester, heading off to go pick up the child from school, and I figured I'd just go ahead and record something since I haven't done crap all day and I need to get a video out. Today is the first day back from being off at Overland Expo, and I had a great time. It was an excellent experience. It's one that I couldn't recommend enough to anyone else who's thinking about getting into this space or who's already in this space that just wants to learn more and up their game and get better at what it is they're doing. What we did and what I got to experience there was very unique, and it was an experience that, God, I hope I get to have again sometime soon. It was that awesome. As a social ambassador, I kind of had a little more access then, which made it awesome because I could go behind the scenes and go check out the Camel Trophy Skills area, see all of the great trainers from 7P who are on hand, just dishing out knowledge hand over fist. It's that portion of that kind of brings me to want to give us a list today of the things that I really took away from Overland Expo, or my favorite things that I experienced at Overland Expo. Day 3 was really hard for me in the fact that I kind of got a late start again. When I finally got up and going day 3, it was raining. I'm making excuses here, but essentially it just wasn't conducive to making the kind of content I wanted to make. But it did give me time to reflect on a few things, especially on the long-ass drive home and the lovely southbound I-17 Sunday traffic that if you're from Arizona, you would understand. I guess I'm gonna have to go ahead and give you a list of the things that I really appreciated from Overland Expo, or my favorite things, or, you know, just the things that pleasantly surprised me about Overland Expo. First among those things was found it out the first night. If you're gonna go and you have any question about what the camping experience will be like on site, you know, I get it. You're probably kind of leery. I was too, about camping in such tight proximity with other people. The thing is the people that you're camping in tight proximity with at that event are the kind of people who got into this to go out to the woods and be away and have things be quiet and not crazy. So even as tightly compact in there in the camping area that we were, once like 8, 9 o'clock hit, it was crickets. There was no noise. Unlike any other time when I would go out to a place in the pines like this here in Arizona that was readily accessible, you'd have to listen to the far off distant sounds of fifth wheels with generators and side-by-side screaming around, and even divots with techno music. Wasn't a problem there. Like, seriously, lights went out, nobody made a peep. I have never slept that well in any kind of close proximity to other people in my whole life. Brings me to my second point. There actually is a little bit of infrastructure there with camping. You don't have, you can bring all of the things that you think you'd normally do for a dry camping trip, like bring your tent and your toilet and all those other things. But there are porta potties everywhere, and there actually are shower trailers for people who are staying there. So staying clean, keeping your sanitation up. Oh, and there's dumpsters to drop your trash off. So sanitation, cleanliness, no problem. I would not hesitate telling anybody to go camp there. Next thing I noticed was that as much as I thought that this was going to be, because what you always see of Overland Expo and most everybody else's content is this place where it's just gobs upon gobs of gear and what my friend Don likes to call vehicular cosplay. latest, greatest pieces of gear that are designed to put money from your pocket to the vendor's pocket, really without any consideration of how this is actually going to work or your application or your need. Yeah, that's there, but you go beyond that, and there were a lot more magical things that I saw there, and one of those was the DIY area. You had this whole pavilion, and they presented them on a schedule. Each person who had a DIY rig had an assigned time that they would actually be out there doing a meet and greet, and there were vehicles stretching the gambit from a fellow named Ryan in a second generation Toyota 4Runner all the way up to homemade Earth Roamer style vehicles on heavy duty truck chassis, to even Timmy from Truckhouse Life, who was there with his unique log cabin stuffed in the back of an F-350. All of those vehicles were all DIY built by their owners and were just custom tailored to their own lifestyle, but they were so unique to me because it shows just what you can do if you want to apply a little bit of elbow grease and some money. You know, you can run the gambit from being just like Ryan and living out of a perfectly capable vehicle like a second gen 4Runner to those guys with the big ass rigs. I think there was one there that the owner was actually trying to sell for the nice price of $480,000. Third thing that I found that was interesting that doesn't get a lot of billing was there's actually a kids skills program. Not sure on the details, but it was a lot of it was taught by a lady named Grace, who I believe is a member of the Arizona Land Rover community. And in fact, she drives a beautiful white Discovery 1, and she was out there just teaching kids. When I saw her, she was doing a tire change. At a certain point, she was going to roll up, and they were actually going to do a simulated recovery with her vehicle and the kids. I didn't have a time I had somewhere else to be, and I didn't have time to come back over and film the rest of that. So, Grace, I'm sorry, I really wanted to showcase that for you. But thank you for doing the work that you did out there, because I think it's very important for kids to start getting exposed to this. So, it doesn't get a lot of billing in the Overland Expo scheme of things, but yeah, there's some stuff out there to teach your kids and pique their interest in this sport. Next thing I noticed was just how good the level of skills training was. It wasn't just classroom training, it was hands-on applied training, and in many instances it was training with your vehicle. It wasn't like you went to some school somewhere and you hopped into a vehicle that you were unfamiliar with, but it was the one that the school used and put you through the paces. They legitimately let you take your own vehicle out on these obstacles and learn how to negotiate obstacles or anything else with your own vehicle, which I think is amazing, because it's one thing to learn on something like, say, an IFS Toyota product, and then turn around and have to go to the field in a solid axle Jeep or Land Rover. So very cool of them for doing that. And the other thing that I noticed, and it's one we've actually got an interview on, I'm going to go a little more in depth on it later, but there are actual all women's groups. And when I say all women's, I mean it's not just the group of students as women. I'm talking about the instructors themselves are women who are very well versed and very well experienced in this community, teaching other women, so it's more approachable for people, I think, who get intimidated. And once we had known more that was going to, or that was something that was offered there, because again, it's not something that gets a lot of billing inside of the Overland Expo community. Once we knew about that, it was like, we really regretted that Nicole wasn't able to go. So that's something that's going to be on our list for next time. And even if we have to maybe pay for it out of pocket ourselves to put her into one of those driving classes, I think it's definitely worth it and worthwhile. And I think it's something that you guys out there, whether you are the 4% of our audience who is female, or you're somebody who has a female in your life who wants to get into this and wants to learn in an environment that's a little less intimidating, more approachable, more comfortable, that option's available at Overland Expo, and I think that's a good thing. I think more women should be involved in this community, other than, I hate to stereotype it, but being a passenger seat cover or just being a passenger. Because here's the other thing, even if you don't drive all the time, what happens if you're out in the middle of nowhere and the person who's the main driver in your vehicle becomes incapacitated, sick, has a heart attack, breaks a leg, whatever, and you're out in the middle of a trail full of obstacles? How are you going to handle that? You better have those skills and be able to do it. And I think that Overland Expo, because of that program that they have, offers quite a bit in that way of educating you on how to do that. Those are the things that I took away most from Overland Expo this weekend. That's my thoughts right now. If there's anything else you want to know about, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'll address it in a follow-up video or down in the comments. As always, I'm Matt Kester. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Frugal Explorer Dad. Check out the channel's Instagram at Secondhand Overland, or our Facebook group, or our website where you can buy the latest, greatest merch like the... Till next time, be good.